Let's get it. I just float with it. Fuck what you did, I'm at your throat with it. You can learn something, take a note with it. Dedicated my life, I took an oath with it. For the blood of my brothers, we don't do no switching. I run with who I run with, ain't no clicking. Try me, then you done with no decision. Lead a scene like a Mack truck with 4 collisions. Poles everywhere, but they ain't gon' vote dissing. Coming at you live and direct, I don't do no dissing.
All right, shalom. This is Real Time Revelations. Welcome back. You know what I'm saying? It's a show I do every Monday and Thursday from 6 p.m. till 7 p.m. covering all, you know what I'm saying, the major topics, relevant topics, giving you the biblical perspective. Last Thursday, we covered a heavy topic. Last Thursday, we covered the unjust execution, aka the lynching of our brother Marcellus Williams, who was unfortunately unalived. I believe it was last Tuesday. Was unalived. He was on death row for 24 years, and the governor just decided to put him down last Tuesday. All right, this Monday, today, I got another story about something that happened recently in Gettysburg. So in Pennsylvania, a student was attacked and had a racial slur, had the N-word carved into their chest using a box cutter. Now you think about that story. This is 2024. You think, you know, racism is done away with and, you know, the oppressors changed, you know what I'm saying? And then you hear this story where a brother's chest was carved using a box cutter and carved the N-word into his chest. All right, we're going to get into this story to show you that, listen, you cannot trust your enemy. Your oppressor has not changed. He hasn't changed a single bit. He might, you know, talk a good game about, you know, inclusion and equity and, you know, we all inclusive, but listen, that oppressor has war in his heart. All right, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the Bible. We're going to get into the story. All right, we're going to get it in. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to run through the story on, I'm going to share a quick video covering the story, and then we're going to read it through on the article. All right, so y'all stand by. I'm going to quickly share this video.
Tonight, we're starting to learn.
So y'all should be able to see that up on the screen. All right, no sweat. Go ahead and play it.
Tonight, we're starting to learn some more about the investigation into a racial slur apparently being carved into a Gettysburg College student's body. And we're hearing they were teammates. CBS 21's Andrew Klein is there at the school today with the very latest. Andrew.
Well, Joel D., according to the parents of the victim, they gave a statement to the Gettysburg, and that's the school newspaper for Gettysburg College. They said that a racial slur, the N-word, was scratched into their son with a box cutter by one of his teammates on the swim team. Now, the alleged perpetrator has been kicked out of school, according to the Gettysburgian, and the family in that statement with the college went out and said 2 weeks ago on the evening of
So there was an oppressor that carved the N-word into this brother's chest using a box cutter. I don't know, you know, I don't know if y'all can just imagine how painful that would be. Just how painful it would be. Not only the physical pain, but the emotional trauma of having, you know what I'm saying, somebody that you saw as a teammate or somebody you saw and you trusted, you know, you was hanging around them, you was all buddy with them. They turn around and carve the N-word into your chest, carve it into your flesh, man, branding you like they did in slavery. Like, good night. Not only the physical pain, but just the emotional pain and the trauma of that happening to you is insane. And they say, you know, the student has been suspended or he's no longer at the school. Listen, this oppressor should have charges pressed against him. A whole SWAT team should be kicking down this oppressor's door to put him in cuffs and throw him in prison for this hate crime, man. This hate crime, and this you see, when another nation does something like this to a different nation, this right here is a declaration of war. Like carving a slur into somebody's body, that is an act of terrorism and absolutely a declaration of war. But they say, you know what I'm saying, the student has been, expelled. Listen, expelled ain't good enough, man. I don't care if what the family wants or, you know what I'm saying, what the brother who was you know, assaulted wants. I want justice. I want justice to be handed out, and this oppressor needs to be behind bars the same way if any of us committed any crime, we would be behind bars. They don't, you know, you know, we get convicted when we commit crimes, but when they commit crimes, they get slaps on the wrists. I'm playing in this video. Let's see where we are. Run it back a little bit.
Has been kicked out of school, according to the Gettysburgian, and the family in that statement with the college went out and said, 2 weeks ago, on the evening of Friday, September 6th, our son became the victim of a hate crime. The incident took place at a gathering of swim team members. It is important to note that he was the only person of color at this gathering. This student used a box cutter to etch the N-word across his chest. Now, that alleged carving, happened on Friday, September 6th, and nothing came out about the situation until last week. Since this happened, students say on campus that the university has responded well.
So they saying, you know, I'm saying this happened on the 6th of September. So this happened a few weeks ago, but only kind of just recently the story is coming out. All right. And they saying, you know, this happened at a gathering of swim team members. So they all swimmers, they're on the swim team, they all having some sort of party or some sort of gathering. And this brother was the only person of color in this gathering, meaning he was, you know what I'm saying, a black man just surrounded by oppressors. And somehow he ended up with one of the students, using a box cutter to etch or to carve the N-word across his chest. Now, I don't know about you, but in order for this to happen, in order for you to be, you know, still enough for an oppressor to not only restrain you, but carve into your body with a blade, it can't just be one person. You know, it couldn't have been just one person involved, and this person somehow managed to restrain this brother, hold him down, and carve into his body at the same time. Meaning it must have been multiple oppressors that was holding this brother down, restraining him, and allowing this devil to then take a box cutter to his chest and carve into his flesh. But, you know, but they saying, you know, the person who carved it has been expelled. Listen, that whole swim team needs to be investigated. That whole swim team needs to be investigated and charged as accessories to this hate crime, accessories to this violent assault on his brother, this act of terrorism. Not just assaulting him with cutting him, but carving a racial slur is absolutely an act of terrorism. All right, I'm gonna play on a little more.
Across his chest. Now, that alleged carving, happened on Friday, September 6th, and nothing came out about the situation until last week. Since this happened, students say on campus that the university has responded well.
And he's saying students say on the campus that the university responded well. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they responded so well. They kicked him out. Listen, that oppressor needs charges pressed. That oppressor needs to feel the full extent of the law and needs to receive some proper recompense for that, man. That oppressor needs to, you know what I'm saying, we want justice. That oppressor needs to have something carved into his chest. But you know what I'm saying, that ain't gonna happen with this legal system. So at the very least, you know what I'm saying, they should have the full extent of the law pressed against them. That was an absolute heinous act. And whoever was involved, the whole swim team, as I said, y'all need to be investigated. Y'all need to figure out exactly who was involved, who just stood by idly and didn't help a brother. You know what I'm saying? This whole thing needs to be investigated, and people need to be thrown in prison, have charges, have put stuff put against their record. Because as I said, like if we commit a crime, you know, a brother can, you know, steal a few sweets when he was 10. And that he'll get put on his record or something. That brother can't get a job later on down the line. That needs to be put on this oppressor's, you know what I'm saying, his record. So that everybody knows the evil, the absolute evil thing that devil did to this brother and everyone else who was involved. All right, but we're gonna, you know, get the students their perspective on, you know, how the school handled it.
I would say we're more united now. I think everyone was pretty disgusted about what happened, and I think now we're just trying to move forward, united as one.
Oh, they trying to move forward, united as one. Meanwhile, this brother is traumatized. Traumatized, you know what I'm saying, being surrounded by oppressors. You see an oppressor and you think this is somebody you can trust. And that oppressor absolutely betrayed your trust the same way he does you know, to every people on the planet, especially to blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. You know, there's no people who he has treated worse on the face of this earth than blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And now, you know what I'm saying, but you're saying, you know, we'll stand stronger together. Listen, I don't want to hear all that. I want to hear justice. I want to hear, listen, the school didn't take this far enough. This needs to be reported to the police, you know, raised federally. This needs to be raised to the highest level, man. This is a terrorist act. This ain't just, you know, hazing or, you know what I'm saying, what they like to say. This ain't just teasing or bullying. This is an absolute terrorist act. All right, we're gonna play on.
I also spoke with the Gettysburg police, who said they have not even received any information, so they did not want to make a comment.
And the police haven't even received any information on this case. Like the police don't even know about this. This should have been reported to the police. This should have been raised up. But neither the family or the college or the university or whatever, Gettysburg College, has reported this to the police. It hasn't been, you know, even spoken about, let alone investigated. Good night.
At this time, Joel D, back to you.
All right, so we're gonna drop that. Now I'm gonna get into the story. Let me get this article up real quick. We're gonna read more about this story and about what exactly happened. All right, we'll get this right here. Okay, it reads, Gettysburg student athlete carved racial slur into black teammate's chest using box cutter. The reprehensible incident occurred on September 6th during a gathering of members of the Gettysburg College swim team. All right, so we're going to read on. Let me see. Right here. An investigation is underway at a Pennsylvania college after a student athlete carved a racial slur into his teammate's chest using a box cutter. All right, it happened on September 6th during a gathering of the Gettysburg College swim team, and the family of the victim described the incident as a hate crime. So the family is aware this is a hate crime, and they are aware of the power that they have. They are aware that they can take this, they can press charges. But for some reason, nothing is being done, and we're going to get into that. All right, we're going to read on. According to a family statement published by the college newspaper, the Gettysburgian, so this is the college newspaper, you know what I'm saying? The family noted that their son had been the only person of color at the gathering and that the reprehensible act was done by someone the young man had trusted. You know what I'm saying? So this brother trusted this member of the swim team, trusted him, you know, partying with them, having fun with them, being all buddy with them, rubbing shoulders. And then somehow, you know, it can't really have been just one person involved. It takes more than one person. If you're having something carved into your chest, you're gonna fight back. You ain't getting this slur. You ain't getting that clean at all. That first, you might get one line and then you'd be put down. If anybody attacked one of my children or myself in that way, you know, you ain't even getting that close, because we know in the ISUPK, we know to keep our eye on that oppressor. We know not to put any trust in that devil, because listen, once you trust him, he will show who he is. He will, you know what I'm saying, he will find a way to assault you. He will harm you. Once you trust him, it's damn near guaranteed you will be harmed by this devil. All right, I'm going to get into a Bible verse on that about trusting your oppressor. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and verse 10. All right, let me get into the chapter so I can read a bit more in it. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and verse 10. It says, never trust thine enemy. The Bible says that never trust thine enemy. All right, and if blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, if you don't know who your enemy is in this day, let this story be a reminder. Let the story of Marcellus Williams being executed unlawfully, let that be a reminder of who your enemy is. The Bible says, never trust thine enemy. For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Meaning the same way that iron, if you give it enough time, it is guaranteed to rust. There's no way you can stop iron from rusting. It will eventually rust. In that same way, your enemy, that oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks of, he will show his wickedness. His wickedness will show the same way iron will rust. All right, it says, though he humble himself and go crouching, meaning he can be all buddy and friendly. We all on the swim team and we friends and we colleagues or what's the word? We teammates. You know what I'm saying? He might go crouching, they spout nonsense about, inclusion and diversity and we all equal. It says, yet take good heed and beware of him, meaning keep an eye on that devil. Keep an eye on that oppressor and watch his movements. Don't, I wouldn't really be around them too much, especially if you're the only brother. You need at least another brother, you know what I'm saying? Listen, if you were at a party or you were at some gathering or you invited out somewhere, there was another story I remember where a brother was invited to go hunting with his, white colleagues. And that the trip ended up, they invited him to go hunting, maybe some deer or something, but really they were wanted to get the brother out alone so they could hunt the brother. And that brother, unfortunately, because he's, he subscribes to America's ideology, he thinks slavery is over, you know what I'm saying? The devil ain't the devil no more, he's our friends now, they ain't old, bud. That brother ended up being hunted, man. I can't recall the story whether he was unalived or not, but they was hunting this brother. I'm pretty sure they hunted him to fruition. And that brother, was around his enemies and trusting in his enemy. This needs to be a wake-up call of who our enemy is. The Christian church will have, they'll spout, turn the other cheek and love your neighbor. Listen, your neighbor is your brother. Your neighbor is a fellow Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. Meaning, if a brother commits a crime against you, you shouldn't seek revenge. You should defend yourself in the moment, but once the moment passes, you shouldn't seek revenge. You let the Most High handle that. But that doesn't mean whatever this oppressor does against you or whatever any other nation does against you, you turn the other cheek. Listen, did Palestine turn the other cheek when Israel dropped bombs on them? Did the Jewish man turn the other cheek, when Hitler and the Germans had them in concentration camps? Did any of these nations that were oppressed turn the other cheek from their oppressor? But they tell us to do that. Only Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians are expected to forgive their oppressor, to expected to turn the other cheek to their oppressor. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to read on in this verse. Take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust had not been altogether wiped away. Meaning, as you observe this oppressor, you observe his movements, you properly look at what it is he does and what it is he says, you will start to see that rust. You know what I'm saying? If you steeped in Christianity, if you want that drug of Christianity, you might not see it. But if you're a brother that's in the ISUPK and has clarity and you observe these oppressors, you observe your enemies, it'll be as if you wiped a looking glass. If there's a looking glass, like binoculars or something, or even a magnifying glass, it's covered in dust. And then you clean it off, you wipe it. Now you see clearly. You see clearly that this oppressor hasn't changed. He's only got more subtle and more cunning in the way he oppresses you. But even sometimes it just comes out and blurts out in a blatant act of terrorism, a blatant act of aggression and violence, and a hate crime against you. But listen, if you observe him and you just watch his movements and don't trust him, you will see it before it comes too late, before you end up with a racial slur carved into your chest, before you end up being hunted in the woods and lynched by your oppressors. You know what I'm saying? You will see it before that happens, before it becomes too late. Listen, if you join the ISUPK, we will show you the truth about your oppressor. We will show you how to keep an eye on him and not end up in these situations right here, man. This is a terrible situation to be in. I cannot imagine the trauma this brother's going through, this just replaying in his mind, being restrained and having people that you trusted, carving this racial slur into your body. And I'm gonna read on in this article. I think that's on the scripture I wanted, right? I'm gonna read on this article. It says this student used a box cutter to etch the N-word across his chest. The statement read. The family added that they had chosen to speak out to add clarity following what they said was misinformation about the incident in media outlets. It says, we have come forward now with a statement in the expectation that it will add clarity, not stir controversy, as we struggle to comprehend the nightmare that haunts our son and our family. Meaning, when they came out with this statement, it wasn't even to really condemn this devil. It wasn't to condemn him and say, okay, this happened. You know what I'm saying? We're going to press charges. We're going to get justice for what happened to our son. It's just to add clarity. They say it's not to stir controversy. You know, they don't want controversy. You know, God forbid there be controversy and this devil, you know what I'm saying, his name gets released and he gets punished for the act that he did, for the violent act of terrorism against a child. God forbid that happens. We don't want to stir no controversy. You know, we're just struggling to comprehend the nightmare that haunts our son and our family. And this is the spirit of Christianity. This is what Christianity has you done. It has you docile, man. It has you being attacked and attacked and attacked, and you don't fight back. You just allow it to happen. It gives you that Stockholm syndrome where this devil is oppressing you, but you still have love for him. You don't want to press charges. You know, you don't want to ruin this poor devil's life. You know, he just made a mistake. You know, he made a mistake by carving a racial slur, carving the N-word into your son's chest. You know, I'm sure, you know, he can change. He can redeem himself. Listen, you should absolutely press charges. All right, it says, our son did not choose to have a hateful racial slur scrawled across his chest, but he has chosen not to return the hate. So he's, you know, he's in that good old Christian spirit to turn the other cheek, to turn the other cheek at the violence of our oppressor. Listen, black people need to stop turning the other cheek. We've had over 400 years of turning the other cheek and having violent acts done against us, and we can't do anything about it. In this day and age, we can do something about it. We should no longer be docile. We should no longer be the punching bag of every other nation. We should take this to this full extent, man. We don't have to just stand down and just allow these things to happen to us, man. We can fight back. But, you know, they in that good Christian spirit, you know, he's chosen not to return the hate. Listen, that getting justice on what happened to you is not returning hate. That's not you being hateful. You know, our people are so afraid of being hateful or being called racist by pointing out the injustices. We're so afraid of being called racist because of our history with actual racism. We know what it actually feels like to experience racism and be oppressed. And because we're so merciful and have so much compassion, we as a nation, we don't want any other nation to experience what we experienced. But getting justice is absolutely not, you know, being hateful. Pointing out the crimes of your oppressor is not just being hateful, it's getting justice. It's demanding justice. That's the spirit that every other nation has but Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. And we need that spirit, man. We need that spirit. That spirit is in the ISUPK. We need that spirit. We need all of our brothers and sisters to get in the ISUPK and have that spirit. So these other nations, when they attack us, they can't just attack us and know, okay, you know, we can attack them and they ain't gonna do nothing. You know, we've indoctrinated them enough that they're just gonna turn the other cheek and forgive us. So we can do whatever violent acts we want to do. We can, you know, shoot up a church. We can go into a school and shoot up, you know what I'm saying, these people. We can have these people in cages on the Mexican border. You know what I'm saying? We can carve racial slurs into their body. And, you know, we ain't really gonna, you know, receive any real punishment. Sure, we might get, you know, expelled or kicked out of the school, but it was worth it. Listen, man, we need to take a leaf out of the Palestinians. You know, they are fighting for their people. We need to fight for our people, man. We can't just let this go. We can't just, you know, You can't be in that Christian spirit no more. That Christian spirit has done nothing to help Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians from our oppression, man. It's done nothing to help us. It's just kept us docile and quiet. Meanwhile, we continue to be culled by this oppressor. That's exactly what it's like. This oppressor has us in his possessions, like here, because he has never truly freed us. He has us like cattle, and he just chooses to unalive and cull us as he pleases. He culls us with them abortion clinics. He pumps guns and drugs in our neighborhoods and allows us and promotes us unaliving each other in our media. And then, he doesn't really, the ISUPK, we have the solution for violence. We have the solution for Black and Black violence. But if this oppressor wanted to stop Black and Black violence, if they actually cared, they would give funding to the ISUPK. They would fund us and support us in our mission to heal Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians from the trauma we've been through, to heal us from the trauma and the pain, and to give us back our identity, to give us a solution, to give us community. But your oppressor, he doesn't want a solution for you, man. He'll provide aid to Israel, he'll provide aid to the Jewish man, but he don't want no solution for you. I'm gonna read on in this article. Let me see. So we was right here, right? He chose not to return the hate. He did not choose the color of his skin tone, but has chosen to embrace the strength and diversity it represents. Our son did not choose to be shunned and isolated at the behest of some who pay lip service to inclusion and diversity. And listen, that's exactly what it is. When your oppressor is talking about, we equal now and, inclusion and diversity, is lip service, man. It's absolute lip service, because a Black man in, the UK, in Britain, in America, our Hispanic brothers in, Cuba and Mexico, we have never been equal to these other nations. We've always been treated worse. They talk about inclusion and diversity. That's just lip service, man. And I'm going to get it in the scripture. I'm going to show you in the Bible. That's exactly what it is. That's lip service. All right, we're going to get Psalms chapter 55 and verse 20. Let me get into the verse. We have verse 20. For this brother who asked the question, I think it's a brother TCU, Teacup or something like that. Which Bible do you use? We use the King James Version Bible and the Apocrypha. So like the King James Version, the 1611 version, that has the Bible and the Apocrypha included. All right, if you can't have the 1611 version, you can get the King James Version Bible and the Apocrypha separate. But that's the Bible that we use. All right, that's the Bible that has the most accurate translation. We don't use these, these new versions where they're trying to change and further hide the truth about this, the truth about this earth, the truth about who God's chosen people are. All right, if that answers your question, that's the Bible that we use. All right, but we in Psalms 55 and verse 20 says, "He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him." This oppressor has put his hands against those that have been at peace with him, and that's Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. Since we have been enslaved, all we've tried to do is just get along with this oppressor. We never tried to really attack him, not no real, big scale. Of course, we've had revolutions while we were being oppressed, but that was just, we trying to stop being oppressed. We've never really declared war against this oppressor or tried to, we've never not been at peace with him. All we've ever tried to do is just get along with him, and we get brokenhearted time and time again, asking ourselves, why can't we get along, man? Why no matter what I do, no matter how much I assimilate to this oppressive society and try and love him and show love and turn the other cheek, no matter how much I be a good old Christian, this oppressor just keeps oppressing me. He keeps unaliving me. Because the Bible says he puts forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. The Native Indians found that, firsthand, where they made them peace treaties. This oppressor breaks every treaty he makes. He breaks every treaty he makes with any nation, man. And he puts forth his hand, meaning he will attack you and assault you and war against you when you're trying to make peace with him. And it says he has broken his covenant. He broke every promise, every peace treaty that he's made, man. It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. Meaning, you know, he talks a good game about inclusion and diversity, and we in 2024, you know, there's, you know, we equal now, and, you know, civil rights movement, you know, he gave us rights and, you know, so-called freed the slaves. The words of his mouth are smoother than butter, but war is in his heart, man. Harming a brother is in his heart. Executing a brother in prison on death row for 24 years, that is what's in his heart. And it says his words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Meaning his words, they sound so good, man. They sound so good. What they teach in that Christian church, which comes from the oppressor. If you're being taught the Bible in that Christian church, you're being taught from your oppressor. If you want to actually learn the Bible, you come to the ISUPK and we will teach you the actual Bible. We will read these scriptures. We won't just, you know, sing a hymn, open up one psalm, you know what I'm saying? We won't just sing and dance and bang a damn tambourine. We open up this book and read and get this practical knowledge out of this book, man. Show you what this looks like in real life as I'm breaking down. This oppressor, his words are smoother than butter. His words are softer than oil, but war is in his heart, and and he has drawn swords. He has drawn swords. This devil literally had a blade and carved the N-word into this brother's chest. He had a drawn sword. All right. I'm gonna drop that for now. I'm gonna drop the article and I'm gonna get another video. Let me get one second. I'm getting to the next video. Right here.
A racial slur allegedly carved into the chest of a student.
And make sure it's shared. Close this. I'm gonna share this video right here. Y'all should be able to see that, and then I'm waiting back.
A racial slur allegedly carved into the chest of a student at Gettysburg College, and now we're learning why the case is going nowhere.
So they saying, you know, this happened to this brother, this act of terrorism, and this case is going nowhere. It's going nowhere, you know what I'm saying, in the way of receiving actual justice. It's just being dropped and thrown away to the wayside and it's just going to be forgotten about.
The person accused of doing this has reportedly left the school, but no charges have been filed. CBS 21's Maxine Rose joins us near Gettysburg College campus with the latest.
Gettysburg police told us that the victim has decided not to contact local police and instead is letting the college's campus safety department handle this whole situation. It's a shocking new piece of information for some here at Gettysburg College.
If it's true that it was like with a box cutter and like if that's like a hate crime and it's also just like a violent crime in general.
I care about racial.
So you're saying, you know what I'm saying, if they used a box cutter and carved the N-word, if they used anything, if they used a pen to you know, write the N-word on this brother's chest, that's still a hate crime. But the fact they used a box cutter is absolutely a violent hate crime and an act of terrorism. This is a violent crime. This ain't just, you know, as I said, this ain't hazing. This ain't, you know, like they do in them American college, the fraternities, and they haze and put brothers through all sorts of nonsense. This ain't just that. This is a straight up violent assault. All right?
Crime in general.
I care about racial justice, and it's hard for me to put myself into someone else's shoes when I don't have their same identity.
This devil believes in racial justice. He believes in racial justice. Listen, if you believe in racial justice, you donate, you empty out your pockets, empty out your family's bank account, man. Put all that money into the ISUPK if you believe, you know, if you believe in racial justice. If you believe that Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians should receive justice, you give all your money to the ISUPK. Empty your bank account into this school, and we will show you how we get racial justice. We will get racial justice for Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. Let's put your money where your mouth is. If any oppressor is watching this and believes in racial justice, you donate your money to the ISUPK. if you believe in racial justice for blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. Let's see who really believes. Let's see who really believes in racial justice.
Me to put myself into someone else's shoes when I don't. I don't have their same identity.
Gettysburg College students are left scratching their heads after hearing a student allegedly used a box cutter to carve the N-word into the chest of another, and no charges are being filed. The family last Friday telling the student-run newspaper, The Gettysburgian, that their son was a victim of a hate crime and that they were understanding of their right to press federal charges.
So they are understanding, meaning they are aware that they have the right to press federal charges. They can press federal charges against this oppressor who has traumatized their son and traumatized their family and committed a violent terrorist act. And yet, they have done nothing. They have done nothing but got him, in the last one they said he was kicked out of the school. And this one they said he left the school. So I don't even know if he just left. He might not even have been expelled. That just might be the story the college is running with to seem, they seem like they're doing something. They have done absolutely nothing to give this brother and his family justice, to give blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians justice.
Exactly 1 week later, and things have seemingly changed.
I think there's two sides to it. I think part of it is maybe you have someone who doesn't want to necessarily take it that far.
In a statement sent to CBS 21, Gettysburg police writing, quote, "We did reach out to the college campus safety department once we were alerted by the article in the Gettysburgian campus newspaper. Campus safety advised that the victim was encouraged by the college to contact law enforcement. The victim had chosen not to."
And so, the police department, they contacted the campus. They contacted the campus after they saw this article about what happened in the newspaper. And they saying, the victim and his family, they were encouraged by the college to contact law enforcement. Now, whether that's true or not, whether it's true and they actually, encouraged the brother's family to contact law enforcement and to take this further and press charges, or whether they just trying to say that to cover face and really they were, they try to keep this on the hush-hush for the reputation of the school. Whether either one is true, the truth of the matter is this hasn't been taken further. This hasn't been raised by law enforcement. This hasn't, no charges been pressed, and they absolutely should be. You talk about your son is traumatized, but he don't want to return the hate. Listen, in order for your son to heal from that trauma, a victim needs to see their oppressor, a victim needs to see the perpetrator, receive justice. That victim needs to receive justice. It's the same with a sister who gets assaulted. She can't heal from that trauma unless, she knows something is being done by the person that did that atrocity to her, man. But that happens so many times with black people where we don't receive any justice. We're just left with the trauma. Now, that's not to say, the trauma gonna go away right away, but having justice will at least help. It will at least help this brother to okay, I trusted this person. They did this insane, violent act to me, but he's been put behind bars. He's been locked away. We've received, compensation for what's happened to us, man. Now, I'm gonna keep my eye on any oppressor going forward, but I at least know that devil that did that violent act, specifically, justice has been served. A victim needs to know that in order to heal from any trauma they've been through. Otherwise, it's just up in the air. Nothing has been done. Not only is that the perpetrator might just go on to assault many other people. He might go on to carve more racial slurs into more blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians because you haven't pressed charges. You haven't, nothing has been done. The same way, with somebody who assaults a young woman, you need to press charges, man. This needs to be that violent, that wicked man, or even brothers who get, assaulted and by women. We as a nation, we need to press charges. We need to rid of this evil in our communities. We can't just let this slide or brush it under the rug no more, man. We can't do that no more. We need to absolutely get justice for all the crimes that are committed unto us. And when we receive justice, when people receive, now I'm saying, recompense for their actions, then they know to think twice before doing something like this again. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna play on.
To let the college disciplinary process handle this matter.
I've been here for like 5 weeks and I've loved it. Like everyone I've met here has been like super friendly, super positive. Like it sucks that that's like the narrative that Gettysburg is gonna have now.
I think
Oh, and it's just so terrible that, you know, everyone this oppressor's come across as being so nice and so, you know, so lovey-dovey. It's just a shame that, you know, now this college is gonna have this bad reputation. They cared nothing about what happened to this brother and the trauma that he's been through. Forget the college. Forget the damn reputation of the college. I could care less. What justice has been served for this brother? What has happened? What's really happened to everyone that was involved in that terrorist act? Forget the damn reputation of the college. Good night.
something like that happening in this college is really just disgusting because, I mean, if you look around this town, there's monuments to a war that really is dedicated to, you know, this sort of thing.
They say, you know, if you look at this town, there's monuments. You know, there's monuments that are dedicated to this sort of thing. I don't even know what he's talking about. But it's going to bring up a monument of Abraham Lincoln to show that, oh, they have a monument to this person who they say, you know, he freed the slaves. He fights for racial equality. He fought for justice. Good old Abraham Lincoln. Listen, Abraham Lincoln, if he didn't have to free the slaves for what he wanted to do, he would not have freed the slaves. His intention was not to free the slaves. If you look into it, all you have to do is look into it, man. He declared very specifically he had no intention of ending slavery where it existed or repealing the fugitive slave law. All he wanted to do, it was just a necessary, it was a necessary step in order to, let's see, what was it he wanted to do? To aid the war effort, meaning in so-called emancipating the slaves, he allowed black people to enter into their military because you know that oppressor can't, he can't really fight. He's skilled in the art of war, but when it comes to actual warfare, black people are superior to him. You look at Usain Bolt. You imagine Usain Bolt with armor and a sword, some swords in his hand, just wreaking havoc on that battlefield, man. Black people are instruments of war, and this oppressor, they say he freed the slaves, but he just freed them up. Instead of using them as farming equipment, now he's using them as weapons of war. That's it. You just got moved from the plantation into the barracks, from the the slave field into the trenches. We can read into it what Lincoln did. He said he continued to insist that this was a war to save the Union, not to free slaves. But by 1862, Lincoln was considering emancipation as a necessary step towards winning the war. The South was using enslaved people to aid their war effort. Black men and women were forced to build fortifications, work as blacksmiths, nurses, boatmen, laundresses, and work in factories. Meanwhile, the North was refusing to accept services of black volunteers and freed slaves. So he only freed the slaves because the South, because they continued in slavery and using slaves, they were stronger than the North. So he wanted to free them in order to, I guess, win the war against the South. Something like that. But it was absolutely nothing to do with, justice for the slaves or caring about black people. It was nothing to do with that. All right, we're gonna finish off the rest of this video right here.
Dedicated to, this sort of thing.
Gettysburg police say they don't know the identity of the victim or any other person involved in the situation. They say if or when a complaint is filed, they will begin investigating. In Gettysburg, Maxine Rose, CBS 21 News.
So no investigation is being done. They don't even know the name of the victim or the perpetrator or the devil that carved into his chest. But once something is submitted, a complaint is submitted, meaning nobody is even reported this, whether it be the family of the victims or anybody else in that college. It's just not being reported. No complaint has even been put through to the police for them to investigate it. It don't have to just be the family. I think the family would be responsible for pressing charges and maybe taking this to court, but anybody can raise a police complaint. You're telling me nobody in that college or the in the college staff, the family of the victim, nobody has raised this to the police? This is my good night. Good night. I'm gonna share these verses right here. I'm gonna explain exactly why this story has gone nowhere. All right, go read this right here. Isaiah 61 and verse 1. It said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord hath appointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek." Meaning the Most High has appointed these priests and prophets. You see Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, them priests and prophets in that day. The priests and prophets in today's time, you're looking at the priests and prophets right now. It's in the ISUPK. And the Most High appointed us to preach good tidings unto the meek. Good tidings to the people that, we ain't the people that's trying to harm everybody. We are meek and humble, and all we try to do as a nation, we just trying to get along with everyone else. Any violent act, all the violence that's being done by Black people is being done towards one another because the oppressor taught us to hate each other. But we don't go attacking other nations. We don't go around attacking and oppressing and carving things into the chests of other nations. We don't go around doing nothing that this oppressor does to us, man. It says, "He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted." And this brother right here and his family, what they talked about, the trauma they've been through, and this nightmare of this situation of what happened by someone that he trusted. That brother right there is brokenhearted, man. The ISUPK, we've come to bind you up. We've come to give you strength back. We've come to take your mind out of Christianity and you just turn the other cheek and just allow this to happen to you. We've come to bind you back up, man, to bring you together, give you some strength back. The oppressor, he uses this tactic of divide and conquer, meaning, he has it where every Black person is just for themselves or for their own individual family. Meanwhile, every other nation, they operate as a nation. We need to once again operate as a nation. That's what we're bringing back in the ISUPK. I mean, if something happens to one of us, it's happened to all of us, and we will all fight and pour resources and give guidance and counsel on how to fix this situation, how to get justice for the situation. Listen, if you are anybody that knows anything about this story, if you are the family of the victim, if you are the victim yourself, contact the ISUPK. And we will teach you how to get justice. We will bind you up from being brokenhearted. All right? To proclaim liberty to the captives, proclaim freedom to the captives, because Black people have never been freed from our captivity. We just had the shackles removed. We just had the chains removed, but we have never been freed. We are still captives to Britain. We are still captives to America. We're still captives to Spain and the Portuguese and the French. We're still captives to these other nations, man. And the openings of the prisons to them that are bound. Wherever you go, where there's Black people, we fill them prisons. We are bound up in them prisons, man. The ISUPK and the priests and prophets under the ISUPK and Commanding General YAHANNA, we've come to free those that are bound. We've come to free those that have been thrown in prison and those that are imprisoned mentally. We're here to free your mind from that mental enslavement. All right? I'm gonna get into one last verse before we close. You know what I'm saying? This is the spirit that we should have. We shouldn't have this spirit of just laying down and allowing any nation to run over us, man. We should have the spirit of wanting to receive justice and see our people prosper. All right, I'm gonna get Ezekiel 35, and I'm gonna start from verse 2. All right. So he's talking to Ezekiel, and the Lord spake unto Ezekiel, saying in verse 2, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. And Mount Seir, that is your oppressor. That's the so-called white man today. All right, set your face against them, meaning don't be buddy-buddy with them. Don't be trying to make no agreements with them. Set your face against them and prophesy against it, meaning show them their crimes. Show them the crimes they have done to us and demand justice, meaning point out every wicked thing they've done to us and teach our people to see who they are and not trust them so readily. Not, don't set them by you and you end up trusting them and then you end up being unalived or being subject to a terrorist attack. Set your face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord God. And this is what you should say to these oppressors. Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. And so we in the ISUPK, we are against our oppressor. And it's not because, we're just angry black men. We're against our oppressor the same way the Palestinian man is against Israel. The same way the Jewish man was against Germany. We are against those who oppress us and unalive us every day. We set our face against them, man. It's not wrong, or, we're so scared of being racist. It is not racist to demand justice or to be against a people that are unaliving you in these streets, man. That oppress you in every facet of your life. It is absolutely not wrong to be against those people. All right, and the Most High says, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and will make thee most desolate. When you see the oppressor, his kingdom is burned down to rubble, burned to ruins. You don't see no skyscrapers no more. Is just the whole kingdom is brought down to rubble and is desolate. That is justice for all the crimes they've done to blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. All right, it says, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. In that day, you will know who God is. It ain't, they put up, images of this white person as God and Christ. In that day, you will know that the nigger God is real. You will know that the black God, according to the Bible, is real. You will know who he is. All right, and why? Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. Because your oppressor has had a perpetual hatred, and no matter what you try and do to love him or to show that, you stand with, I'm a British patriot, I'm an American patriot, he has a perpetual hatred against you, man. And has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity. Meaning the time we're in slavery, the Most High delivered us up to their hands to punish us, but he shed our blood like on a scale that is unprecedented, man. He shed our blood on an insane scale in the time of our calamity, meaning in the time where our God wasn't with us. And in the time that our iniquity had an end, meaning the time where we're now trying to turn back to our God and we stop sinning, they are still oppressing us. They're still unaliving us. All right. It says, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God. So this is the Most High speaking. This ain't, this ain't just for our band speaking. This ain't UPK speaking. This ain't our words. This is the Bible, and this is the Most High speaking right here. I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. See if thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So seeing how this oppressor, he hasn't hated to shed our blood. He hasn't shied away from shedding our blood. He didn't shy away from unaliving Marcellus Williams. They didn't shy away from getting a box cutter and carving a slur into this brother's flesh. They didn't shy away from that. So they will be prepared unto blood. Blood will pursue them. All right? And with that, you know what I'm saying? You can read on in in Ezekiel chapter 35, it tells you exactly what's going to happen to this oppressor. They're going to be made desolate and wiped off the face of this earth, man. Black people, blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, our God, the black God, will give us justice. You can't rely on no other nation to give you justice. You rely on the Most High. You rely on these priests and prophets, man. All right, and with that, you know what I'm saying, that's my time. I hope you all enjoyed the show. All right, that's all right. I'll catch y'all again on Thursday. Again, I do this show every Monday and Thursday, 6 p.m. till 7 p.m. Make sure y'all tune in. All right, after this on the ISUPK YouTube and Facebook, it will be the Monday law class. Make sure y'all tune in for that. You know what I'm saying? Learn about the law according to the Bible. And with that, I say shalom to all my brothers. Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Barakatham, and Yahweh Shema Alathan Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right? Shalom.
Let's get it. I just float with it. Fuck what you did, I'm at your throat with it. You can learn something, take a note with it. Dedicated my life, I took an oath with it. For the blood of my brothers, we don't do no switching. I run with who I run with, ain't no clicking. Try me, do you done with no decision. Lead a scene like a Mack truck with 4 collisions. Polls everywhere, but they ain't gon' vote dissing. Coming at you live and direct, I don't do no dissing.